Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dragonrana podcast, the podcast where we take a look back at the 2017 year of New Japan and see just how good it actually was. My name is Justin. Did I just fuck up my own intro?
You call yourself Justin for some reason. I don't really understand what the...
Well, that has to stay in.
Well, I
That's
mean, I would. I think it's funny.
My name is Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. How you
Joining
doing?
me is Justin.
That's me. I'm Justin. For real, he was lying to you before.
Yeah, and for the first time, we're recording this podcast remotely. Justin's off at college now. I'm still at home. So, how have things been for you up at college, dude?
It's life. It's just life now. It took me a good week or so to get used to it, but here I am, just going through life, doing homework. The college experience at its finest.
Yeah, I know that life. So nothing else just besides schoolwork?
Not really.
Is it getting cold up there yet?
Nope, it's still nice, but like I haven't done as much fun stuff as I would like to do because I'm busy with both work and school. So somehow I found time to do the podcast, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, you've only been there for not even a month yet, so I'm sure you'll settle in and you'll figure things out and you'll get to do some fun stuff. So no worries, you got plenty of time for that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so how about we talk about, if you feel like it, a little bit of recent New Japan stuff? There's been some fun stuff going on recently.
Yeah, G1 ended, and
Mm-hmm.
Gato pulled a Gato, something you never expect, but makes perfect sense.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, Tanahashi won the G1 this year. Looking like it's going to be Tanahashi Omega at the Dome. I'm kind of excited for it. I don't know 100% how I feel about it. But I'm sure it'll be a good match, and I'm looking forward to
it just because it's something we haven't seen before, like there hasn't really been to my knowledge, a big Tanahashi Omega match, so I think it's almost got the same feeling as Okada Omega did, because they hadn't really met, so.
Yeah. There was the one match they had you weren't even watching it this time, it's the finals of the Intercontinental title tournament after Shinsuke left and had to vacate the title. They met in the finals, but that was, by the time the Dome rolls around, it'll have been about 3 years or before that, and it was very much a non-clean win. You had the Bucks running down and doing all that, so it's very much a protected match. So we'll see how that goes. I was really happy with the Ishii match we got at the Destruction Tour with Omega.
Yep.
That was real fun.
Yeah, I was a little more fond of their G1 encounter, but the match they had in Destruction was still good, so.
Yeah, I prefer the G1 too, just because you had the time limit. There's that sense of urgency. You had Omega unbeaten in the G1 at the time, so that a little more drama, I think, with it. But it was still fun. Like, those two can't have a bad match.
Mm-hmm. And then
they just work well together.
Literally tomorrow, you've got the briefcase match, so.
Literally in like 12 hours, we have the match for the briefcase. Tanahashi and Okada one more time. I wonder. I think this is the match where it's most likely that the briefcase could change hands. Yeah. But I still don't think it's going to happen. I put it around like 10 to 20% chance that Okada wins.
I honestly predicted Jay White interference and him costing Okada. That's honestly what I predict.
That's a fair prediction. That's kind of what I'm thinking too.
And then they could either go with another three-way for the briefcase, which they have an easy out with Tana pinning Jay White, or they could do something else. So that's what I think is going to happen anyway.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Hopefully going to get to watch that show tomorrow.
Yep.
But yeah, we have a 2017 show to talk about here today, don't we?
That we do. A very good show indeed.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. So today we're going to be talking about New Japan's New Beginning in Osaka, the last stop on the New Beginning tour from 2017. And it's coming up right now. 新日本プロレスが戦いの大海原を突き進む戦国演武絆プレゼンツザ・ニュービギニング・イン大阪 February 11th, 2017, from the Edion Arena, Osaka. It's the New Beginning in Osaka. Attendance tonight is 5,466, and on English commentary is Kevin Kelly and a slightly under the weather Don Callis.
It's like
apparently there was a flu going around the locker room at this time, so everyone's working a little bit sick today.
Yeah, I'm a little sick too, so I guess I'm the Don Callis of today.
All right, well, let's be like Don Callis and power through it, kick out of the flu,
Kick out of it.
as he put it later in the show. All right, so let's get it started.
Taka is coming, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick you ass.
Kicking off tonight is, oh my god, Taka Michinoku in a singles match. Yes.
What a singles match it was.
Yes, Taka Michinoku taking on Hinare as a young lion. Marked out when I saw this match on the card. Awesome.
The part that the part that I marked out the most about was Hinare pulling a reverse Neville and getting a first name.
He gained the first name.
Yeah,
yes.
At some point he gains the first name. I don't even remember what his first name is.
Yeah, that's
Togi Hinare.
Very rare in wrestling. Toa Hinare.
Hinare. And so he gains a... Anyway.
So we start this match here. Not a lot to this. They start off grappling. On commentary, I thought it was cool that they mentioned that Taka is the first ever WWF light heavyweight champion, and I appreciate it that they're not afraid to talk about other promotions on commentary. It makes the wrestling world feel much bigger and much more lively. Even if, you talk about the big giant WWE, WWF, it's still, nice.
It still makes it feel like there's still
exists.
a wrestling continuity, like one big wrestling continuity, which is cool.
So Taka takes control with an eye poke, classic heel. There's a nice step-up corner knee strike from Taka, and that follows that up with a PK for a 2 count. Hinare hits a shoulder tackle and runs wild with body slams and a suplex to finish it off for a 2 count. Amazing young lion offense right there. Just body slams and a suplex. Taka gets the crossface, but Hinare gets to the ropes for a break. There's a nice spot here where Taka does he does a fake punch, and he usually does that fake punch, and follows it up with an eye poke. But having done that earlier in the match, Hinare blocks for the eye poke. So instead of going for the eye poke, he fakes the eye poke and then just kick to the shin, which I thought was awesome.
Never go for the same move twice in one match, because the second time it will always get countered. Mm-hmm. Something funny I've always noticed.
Yeah, exactly. Very much unlike wrestling video games where you can just spam the same move over and over again. Hinare hits a Samoan drop and a diving shoulder block for a 2 count. And he goes for the Boston Crab, but in a nice little reversal, Taka grabs his arms and crosses them over Hinare's head and rolls him into a sunset flip type pinning combination with the arm still crossed for a 3 count, and Taka wins this Young Lion opening match. What did you think of this, Justin?
It was a match that had Taka Michinoku in it, so that made it interesting. But other than that, Taka was sick, so they took it a little bit easy, and of course it was a Young Lion match, so I didn't feel like there was that much going on. But it was a decent enough opener for New Japan, but it was just kind of a nothing match for the most part. So
yeah, unfortunately, even though he's my boy, I kind of got to agree with that. Not a lot going on here. While the finish, I think, was unique, and it told a decent story in that Taka was, being the wily veteran, was smarter than the rookie Hinare, and he caught him while going for his move to tie him up and pin him. At the same time, why does Taka Michinoku have to beat a young lion with a cradle? Why can't he just hit a move and pin him? Why can't he hit give me the Michinoku driver? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's a story-wise, it's a decent enough finish. All the young lion can do is just go for his moves because that's all he knows how to do, because he's only been in the game for a little bit. But I still think it just makes Taka look weak, not being able to just pin a young lion. But whatever, there are a couple of nice moves here. I like the step-up knee. It's always nice to see Taka's heel antics, but not a lot going on here. Up next, we have a tag team match pitting Kushida and your boy Yoshitatsu. against the team
Made
of
me really happy.
Hiroyoshi Tenzan and Satoshi Kojima, Ten Koji. Either way, I've heard both. I don't know which one it is. I thought this was funny when coming out for the entrances. They play Kushida's music, and they both enter to his music, despite the fact that Kushida's the junior and Yoshi's the heavyweight. They still enter to
Oh, I
Kushida's
didn't
music.
even think about that. Oh, don't. You're just making my boy, him even more my boy.
Just burying
so
your boy.
Much, burying
Oh,
my
it's
boy,
going to get
making him
worse
even
by the
better.
end of the match. It's going to get worse.
Well, the most interesting thought I had from the entrance is commentary talked about if Don wasn't there, they might have brought Yoshi Tatsu on for commentary, and I would have much preferred that than him being in this match. It would have
Yes.
made the entire... Yes.
Yes.
Ugh.
I also have a note that Tenzan's theme is dubbed again. Like,
Yep.
it was dubbed at the beginning of the tour, so obviously it'd be dubbed at the end. But, I'm getting a little annoyed by these dubbed themes. I don't know if it's something we're going to see throughout the entirety of this recap and they just dub it like a day or two after the show or what. But, yeah, getting a little irritated by these terrible dubbed themes.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah, it's nothing, but, just a little... It's one of those pet peeves. So Yoshi jump starts and gets some light boos for that. Kushida's not really happy about his jump start, but Yoshi's on a bit of a losing streak, so he needs to do something to try to gain an advantage.
Carrying over that continuity from, like, last show's match where he did the same thing, so...
So he starts off with some kicks to Kojima and brings him into his own corner. Tags out to Kushida, who kicks him in the arm and hits his nice hip toss, followed up by his cartwheel and then the drop kick. Always looks good. He does his hilarious non-arm stomp, where he like puts his foot on the arm and it's supposed to be like, oh, I'm gonna stomp the ground and your arm to make it look like I like really messed you up. But he just keeps his foot on the arm and just takes a step in place. No impact.
Yeah, I know. The note I have is Kushida stomps the floor so hard that Kojima's arm gets hurt.
Is the kayfabe reasoning for that move is it that he holds the arm in place and then when he stomps the mat, the vibrations are what messes up his arm?
He's supposed to be stomping the arm, but he's clearly not doing that. So
I'm trying to give Kushida an excuse here, man. Maybe the vibrations of the ring mat like messed with Kojima's wrist or something. I don't know.
Just like the vibrations of Jeff Hardy hitting the mat caused Jinder Mahal to fall over.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Is that
botch.
the same thing?
Oh god.
Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
That entire thing was a botch. But anyway.
So Kojima fights out of a key lock to hit a suplex on Kushida and tags out to Tenzan. And they exchange forearms and mulligan chops on Kushida. Like Kojima hits his forearms and it's Mongolian chops, excuse me. Tenzan's Mongolian chops. I always get that mixed up. I think there was a wrestling video games where they were called mulligan chops. And it's ruined it. Ruined that move for me.
Oops.
I have here Tenzan spends 90 seconds of this match just stomping in the corner doing nothing. Did you have this down? Like, he, for an Ice Age, is just, stomps in the corner, just punches in the corner, keep the guy on the ground, whip him into the other buckle, hit a corner close. Literally nothing. Like, the easiest... He did not give a fuck about this. He literally did nothing.
I didn't have it down, but I guess I did notice it now that you mention it.
Kushida hits a Pele and tags out to Yoshi, who runs wild with some kicks to the chest and a spinning wheeled kick.
Runs wild is a very overestimation, but that's
very
okay.
Generous term, I know. But it's supposedly the hot tag. Also, again, not a very big reaction. I think it was bigger than last show's reaction, but not quite as, still not much. Kojima can't make it in time to break up a pin, so he just yells at Tenzan and tells him to kick out, and the crowd kind of laughs at that.
I did hear that, yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. Tenzan hits his backdrop and tags to Kojima, who hits his double stacked up machine gun chops in the corner, follows that up with a forearm smash, but the elbow drop is cut off by Kushida with a nice handspring kick to the top rope, and then a handspring elbow to Tenzan. Yoshi hits a blue thunder bomb to Kojima, but only gets a 2 count for that. And then I couldn't tell here if he was going for a Tiger Driver or a Pedigree, which would be more like Triple H mocking. I don't know. He did the double underhook. But either way, it's countered into the Koji Cutter. There's a 3D-like attempt at a move from Kojima and Tenzan. Like they push him up for the 3D it looked like. But Yoshi counters it with a chop to the head. He's chopping. And Kushida hits a springboard dropkick to take out Tenzan. Tatsu tries to hit Kojima with a lariat, but Kojima, being the king of the lariat, no-sells his wimpy move and hits one of his own for the 3, and Tenkoji win this undercard tag match. What did you think of this?
I like it because it had Yoshitatsu in it, and Kushida looked really good, but again, it's kind of the same situation with the old Japanese legends. I can't get into it when they're on the other side. So when I'm not into one half of the match, it gets kind of a little bit hard to find enjoyment in, and it just was kind of a undercard tag match that was more or less forgettable for me, in all honesty.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way about this. Kushida looked good. I thought Kojima's stuff was entertaining. Like, I always like machine gun chops. And I'm not even going to try to say his catchphrase that he does after the forearm smash, but that's always entertaining just to see the entire crowd sing along with it.
But it's not over with me, with really either of us. So
yeah, but yeah, I liked Kojima. I liked Kushida. Tenzan basically did nothing, and Tatsu was just sort of there. But after the match, he kind of gets into a little bit of an altercation with Kojima, and is just... he just walks off without accepting a handshake, without coming to resolution with anything. So kind of a Yoshi Tatsu heel turn, but it's all kind of for nothing because he's going to be gone pretty soon.
no.
So, oh yeah, that's the note I have about this. How it's going to get even worse for Tatsu. They have Kushida in this match, a junior heavyweight, but even though they have him there, they decide to pin Yoshi Tatsu.
Yep.
So, poor Yoshi.
He deserves better. He deserves to be.
Does he though?
No, he doesn't.
Up next, we have an 8-man tag match. It's the Chaos team of Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, Jado, and Gedo versus Yuji Nagata, Jushin Thunder Liger, Tiger Mask, and Juice Robinson. So we just got everybody who was left over from their matches the other day lumped together in this tag match here. So we start off with Yoshihashi and Nagata, and they grapple. And then a strike-off ends when Yoshi hits a shoulder block. Nagata quickly locks in the Nagata Lock 2, but it's broken up. Nagata Lock 1, but that's broken up. So he just kind of gives up and tags out to Tiger, and Gedo tags in on his side.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do they have the same rule that they have in WWE where you can only break up a move in the ring once before getting DQ'd? Because that definitely happened at least 3 times in this match.
Well, I don't even think they have that rule in WWE anymore, but they definitely don't have that in New Japan, because as you just saw, they just did 2 back-to-back where they broke up a submission, so I don't think that rule applies, unless... Was Tiger Hattori the ref here? I don't remember. He could have just blew the call. Like, that wouldn't be unexpected of Tiger.
Crap for it, so yeah.
So Tiger Mask controls with some nice arm drags, and Jado attacks him from behind when he has his back turned to Gedo. But he manages to fight them both off and tags out to Liger, who starts a Shote party, and that ends when Gedo hits a right hand. Gedo tags out to Yoshihashi, who hits his draping drop kick while Gedo kind of holds Tiger there. Or Liger, excuse me. He holds Liger's legal. You can't have 2 guys named Tiger and Liger in the same match. It makes it impossible to keep track of anything.
Impossible to say the right thing. It's more like it.
Tags out to Goto, and Liger actually asks for Goto forearms. And he rallies with a Shote, and he tags out to Juice. Juice runs wild and hits like a Diamond Dust, I think it's the move called like Corner Flip Stunner, and then follows that up with a Cannonball Senton for a 2. Then they battle over a suplex, so you can outmuscle the other to hit the suplex. Goto floats over and hits an Ushigoroshi to end that exchange. Tags out to Jado, and then they kind of cluster fuck everything. Yoshihashi runs in and hits his headhunter, and Jado covers for a 2 count. Jado tunes up the band like Shawn Michaels in the corner, but he misses like a swinging punt kick to the head.
Yeah, I was like really surprised. I was like, did he go for like a Randy Orton punt and it just like meant nothing? Like, what the heck? It was so weird.
I don't think it really mattered what he went for because he was going to get countered, but I see your point.
Well, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. But he misses the punt. Juice goes for the pulp friction, but that's countered. And they have a chop versus punch battle, which is kind of... I know one of like Jado's things is he chops and then goes, woo, like Ric Flair. So they're doing that versus the Juice punches, which I thought was kind of a funny spot if you knew what they were doing. And that ends with a big left hand and a big boy by Juice Robinson. But that's broken up at 2. Tiger hits a really nice like running suicide dive, and Liger hits his cannonball off the apron, and Juice hits the pulp friction on Jado in the ring for the 3, and the team of Juice, Nagata, Liger, and Tiger win this match. What'd you think of this one?
A few notes. First things first, as I think during the entrance, someone says Yoshihashi is 2017's breakout star, or he could be 2017's breakout star, and I call BS on that immediately.
Not in 2018, that doesn't look that way.
2017, 2018, not a breakout star. Second note, we had a cover song instead of Liger's theme. Come on. And then as for the match itself, I thought it was a bit strange. Like, I know that's just the way tours are set up, but you have Juice and Goto on the other side again, even though Goto beat Juice at the last show. So it just was something that I found a little weird. I get that's how tours work, but like, and then as for the match itself, it was kind of fun seeing Liger do his shotes, and Juice is over and fun, but like for the most part, there wasn't that much happening here. It's another undercard tag. It was probably the best one so far, but still kind of forgettable.
Yeah, I'm feeling similarly. Just a note there, I think the dub theme that they came out to was Nagata's theme that they were dubbing over. So Liger's theme I don't think they have to dub, thankfully.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, still...
Just I get that Nagata's the heavyweight, but it's Juice and Thunder Liger. I think it's okay to come out to his theme.
Well, I guess the idea is that he's Nagata's maybe equal or greater star to Liger, and he's the heavyweight, so we get his music. I'm not sure how they decide that, but that
it just made me sad. That's all I'm trying to say.
If the match had taken place before the title match, they would have come out to Juice's theme. I'm pretty sure. It all just depends on what the situation is. So it was Nagata's turn for his music tonight, and it didn't even matter because it got covered on New Japan World. So. But yeah, it was okay. I was surprised by Tiger. He had that nice suicide dive near the end. I didn't think he was capable of something like that. So that looked pretty cool. Yeah, Juice was good. Jado and Gato just did their comedy heel stuff. It was alright. Undercard tag at the end of a tour, and everyone's sick, so I can't really imagine a lot of these guys are feeling like they want to put on 5-star classics tonight. Up next, we have a 6-man tag match. It's a team of Minoru Suzuki, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and our Lord and Savior Taichi versus the Rainmaker Okada and the team of Roppongi Vice, Rocky Romero, and Beretta. Random side note for modern day, our Lord Taichi just won the never openweight title from Goto.
I didn't watch that show. I didn't know he actually did that. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about like texting you like, hey, do you want me to spoil something on the show for you? But I figured you would have watched it by now.
Well, you got my genuine reaction right here, so holy crap.
Our Lord and Savior.
A belt.
It was an awful match. Lots of running interference. But our Lord and Savior has a belt.
Cool. So happy.
So when the Chaos team comes out, Okada's knee is still heavily taped from the match with Suzuki, and there's lots of camera shots of that. And you can actually see Okada looks a bit hesitant to get in the ring. Not like he's scared of facing Suzuki or anything, but just like a look of, ah, fuck, here we go again, before he gets in the ring, which I thought was nice. Nice that they keep the continuity of the knee injury, and nice by Okada for selling that he doesn't really want to wrestle Suzuki again.
Another note about the entrance that I kind of wished happened. Taichi does not make the most use of his lip syncing gimmick, coming out to Suzuki's music and choosing not to lip sync with the microphone that he's carrying. Terrible, Taichi. You need to use your gimmick better.
I think Ayumi Nakamura doesn't live up to the standard of our Lord Taichi, and he shouldn't degrade himself by singing Ayumi Nakamura's songs. So, of course, it's a Suzuki-Gun tag match, so we get a Suzuki-Gun jump start at the bell. But Roppongi Vice fights off the junior heavyweights while Suzuki brawls with Okada. They clear the ring and have the Roppongi Vice jumping high five. And then it follow that up with a double dive to the outside. Beretta and Taichi start the match back in the ring. Beretta hits a nice Northern Light suplex for a 2 count. Suzuki's on the outside and kind of lures Beretta in and grabs his arm and hits the arm bar over the ropes. While Suzuki and Okada go back to brawling on the outside, Suzuki actually traps Okada under a bunch of barricades, which I thought was a nice visual and a nice use of your environment. Although that's probably got to suck if you're one of the wrestlers here getting hit with those barricades.
Suzuki does it a lot, where he uses the barricade for moves and stuff. That happens a lot in New Japan for some reason, but I don't know whether I like it or not. It's very weird and interesting.
Well, if you're opposing this with WWE, they have those big black walls. There's not really anything you can do unless you're gonna shoulder charge someone through it. So I guess with those loose barricades that are light enough that you could pick up and throw around and move around pretty easily, they're a bit more versatile. They can make for some disappointing shortcuts in a match. You'll see Suzuki-Gun brawling on the outside and using barricades and trapping people's arm in barricades and all that stuff. So they can be a shortcut to get out of doing real wrestling in a match, but they can also maybe add some flavor to it. So bit of good, bit of bad.
They were used well in some more comedy spots during the G1, with Sonata and the Paradise Lock, and Yano did some fun stuff with them. But weird tangent to go off into, but all right.
Yeah, let's talk about barricades for another 10 minutes.
Barricades in wrestling, how do they work?
So Suzuki-Gun takes control with double team moves, and of course Taichi got his hands on the ring bell hammer and starts using it to dig into Beretta's face. Taichi Wakaire.
There was someone on commentary was like, Taichi, a very controversial superstar. That's the same thing WWE says about Roman Reigns, yet it's so much different and so weird. It just caught me
well, it's an undercard tag guy who's got the controversial label and not your top star. So it's a little bit, you can have fun with it. He sucks, but it's okay to suck because you're not doing anything.
But anyway, it just caught me as the differences.
Mm-hmm. So while the ref is distracted with members of Suzuki-Gun, Taka slides in and does a fast 3 count while Taichi covers Beretta, and they celebrate. I love that gimmick.
That made me really happy.
Yeah. Taka the boy.
And then as soon as after that, Don Callis was like, Tiger Hattori should count that fast.
Taichi rips off his pants but misses the super kick for a roll up by Beretta, but only gets a 2 count. Is his super
kicks more effective when he doesn't have pants on? Is that supposed to be the gimmick?
Well, I know there's that kayfabe news article where they talk about how slapping the leg makes the super kick more powerful. Maybe it has to do with blood circulation, and I don't know. You'd have to ask kayfabe news.
I'm guessing it's just the gimmick of, haha, he's taking his pants off.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I guess I'm overthinking it.
Taichi tags out to Suzuki, and he puts Beretta in the knee bar. Okada tries to break it up, but Suzuki grabs his leg and puts him in a knee bar. Rocky tries to break it up. Suzuki lets go of Okada, puts him in the knee bar. All of this while he's still got Beretta in the knee bar.
It's a triple knee bar. It was freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Suzuki's great at comedy, man. He's menacing and terrifying and legit feeling, but he can also do comedy really, really well. Beretta eventually gets the ropes and creates an opening with an enziguri and tags out to Okada, who runs wild. And during his big comeback sequence, he does his DDT out of the corner and the kip up. He still does the kip up, but when he lands, you can see very clearly on his face that he grimaces, he flinches, and his knees giving him trouble.
Made me so happy. I was just like, yes, this is how wrestling should be.
I took a very special note on someone not selling something later. I will talk about briefly, which I thought was just hilarious, but we'll get there. Okada does a great job at keeping, maintaining that sell job on the knee, even though they had that match, what had been at least a week ago. So Okada goes to the corner to try to go up for his elbow drop, and Suzuki crawls on his back to go over to get Okada and grab the leg to bring him back control. Yeah, that was both funny and hilarious, I thought. Did I say funny and hilarious?
Those are the same things.
I suck. I'm so sorry. I suck. I meant terrifying and hilarious. There we go. Yeah. Because it's terrifying that this scary man is crawling across the floor at a pretty fast speed to come get you, but hilarious because he's swabbing like a fish. So Suzuki crawls over to pick Okada's leg. He gets a PK for a 2. A lot of PKs on this show. We get a forearm exchange between Okada and Suzuki that ends with a slap by Suzuki and a sleeper attempt, but Okada escapes and hits a drop kick.
I noticed something funny. During that strike exchange, you can see Rocky Romero throwing forearms when Okada throws forearms.
That's great.
It's really funny. If you missed it, go back. It's just it's great.
That's some Mizdow stuff right there.
Yeah.
So we get tags out to Kanemaru and Romero on either side. Romero hits a Rana and sets up for his forever clotheslines with Taichi and Kanemaru in the corners.
Does 5 equal forever? Because that's how many clotheslines he threw.
It depends. I guess. If you're a goldfish, maybe. So he's hitting his forever clotheslines. Taichi gets out of the way, and I love this thing with Taichi. He uses the axe bomber, which is just a downward swinging clothesline type thing, and he shouts it out when he's going for it. So he's trying to catch Rocky off guard. Axe bomber, but he misses, and then Kanemaru and Taichi try to do a double axe bomber, and they miss again, and then Rocky comes from behind, and you can hear him go, Axe bomber! And hits them both. That was great.
I thought he was just doing forever clotheslines. I didn't realize he said the same thing.
They're basically the same thing. It's just a different way to do the same move.
It kind of reminds me of Disco Kid in the Wii Punch Out, where it's here comes right before he's about to punch you.
That's a thing
as
in
you were
wrestling.
describing that, I was like, is Disco Kid here?
Yeah. Great reference, by the way. Nintendo Wii Punch Out. You can check that one off the list.
Whenever something comes into my head, it's coming out. So.
Yeah. But that's a thing in wrestling where wrestlers say the name of the move that they're about to hit before they hit it. Like Kenny and Ibushi right now in modern day.
Golden Trigger.
Yeah, Golden Trigger gets cut off before they can hit the move. It's I feel like you could just not say the move's name and just do it unless you
also with the sorry.
I was just gonna say unless you needed to activate a move by saying it, Kamehameha. You need to say that. I don't know.
And it's doubly ironic when Kenny is you can't escape, and then
he escapes.
Escape.
That's great.
You're setting yourself up for failure. I mean, come on.
So Rocky hits a draping springboard drop kick. Beretta with a low-flying knee after that, while the guy's sitting up. And Okada follows up with a roll-through, he rolls over the guy's body from his legs to pick him up into the reverse neck breaker. That was a really cool spot. I like that. But all of that is only for a 2 count because Suzuki breaks it up. Taichi hits a low blow and Kanemaru with a tilt-a-whirl DDT, but that's only a 2 count because Okada returns the favor and breaks it up. And the finish comes when Suzuki puts a sleeper on Okada while Taichi hits his last ride powerbomb on Rocky, and then he rolls Rocky over for Kanemaru to hit his diving DDT known as Deep Impact for the 3 count, and Suzuki-gun wins the 6-man tag, getting Kanemaru a win over a junior tag team champion. What do you think of this match?
I thought it was actually really good. For undercard tags, this was the upper echelon of that. Maybe it's just down to Suzuki and Okada being awesome, but I thought everyone held their own really well. Even Taichi played his part super well. A lot of good spots. Okada selling his leg again, still being awesome. on both his kip up and his drop kick. Like after he delivers the drop kick, he's like, "Oh, my leg still hurts," which is freaking awesome. And then the juniors bring Rocky and Beretta doing some really good some stuff in there. Like I thought it was really fun and quite like I said, upper echelon of these undercard tag matches, and I actually really really enjoyed it. So
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I really enjoyed this. Okada and Suzuki are always great together. Just a simple forearm exchange. They do really, really well. I love Suzuki's quick transitions into sleeper holds. I thought Rocky and Beretta were really good in this match. Taichi, like you said, he played his role well. I've never really had much experience with Kanemaru, so I'm not a fan of his because I don't really know his work that well, but he did well in this. That diving DDT, the guy's got to be a maniac because you're basically just taking a flat back bump off the top rope to win a match. That's got to suck. But he did well, I thought. This was probably the most entertaining of the undercard tag matches. I'm looking forward to see what Suzuki does next, what Okada does next. I'm looking forward for more Roppongi Vice matches. Lots of good stuff here, lots to like. Up next, we have the Never Six-Man Openweight Championships. It's the challengers, Bushi, Evil, and Sonata, versus the champions, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Manabu Nakanishi, and Ryusuke Taguchi. So, Taguchi comes out dressed as Evil, and Nakanishi's out in like a mask type, half mask thing like Bushi, and Tanada's out with his baseball bat like Sonata.
yeah, the LIJ cosplay is strong.
I thought it was great that Tana actually, like, halfway down the ramp starts air guitaring with a baseball bat. That was great.
It's pretty good.
Puts his own spin on it. I like also when they're doing the introductions and Tanahashi's music is playing and they get to Nakanishi's introductions. Just after they introduce him, just randomly over the PA system, they go, "Seize Tactics," which is part of Nakanishi's theme music, which I thought that was nice. Nice little touch. So LIJ jump starts at the bell, and Nakanishi counters with a double Northern Light suplex to send LIJ packing, and then tosses Bushi over the top onto the pile outside, and Taguchi Japan do their Taguchi Japan pose in the ring. Taguchi and Bushi end up starting the match proper. Bushi has none of Taichi's running the rope spot that he tried with Naito on the last show, and makes Taguchi do it instead. But because Taguchi is the one who does this move, he was ready for it and launches a hip attack and hits Bushi with it.
Nice.
Then we get the Taguchi Japan hip attack spot where they just take turns tagging in and out and hitting hip attacks. They try the whip Bushi into Taguchi's ass when he's on the second rope, but it's countered with a dropkick. And then LIJ cleans house, and Bushi does his shirt choke so he can tag out to Sonata. Like, he chokes him and throws him into the corner so he can tag out to Sonata, which was nice. Paradise Lock. I don't think the move is that over at this point, because there's, like, no reaction for the move.
Yeah.
But they do have cuts to Milano Collection AT on commentary, so at least they're trying to tell the story of, here's Sonata doing one of our commentators' old moves. But yeah, not a big reaction for it, but he breaks it up with a drop kick. And I have here, it's super effective because he drop kicked him in the ass to break it up.
Yeah, Taguchi needs a lot to sell his ass a lot. It's very interesting.
He's an ass man.
Yep, because he's an ass man.
Tag out to Evil, and he hits a back elbow and a big boy for a 2 count. Taguchi's hip attacks are countered twice into atomic drops, but a springboard hip attack hits its target and gives him the opportunity to tag to Tanahashi, who runs wild and cleans house. Dragon screws for Bushi and Evil, and a twist and shout for Evil as well. Tanahashi tries to follow that up with a sling blade, but Evil with the misdirection lariat takes him down, and he tags out to Sanada. Tanahashi goes back to his corner and tags out to Nakanishi, who runs in and hits a spear immediately. He tries to do his ho lariat spot, but that gets cut off until Taguchi Japan come in to help out, and then they do the triple ho lariat spot, the Jim Duggan spot, and those lariats go for 2 counts.
And then following the lariats, the weakest stomach punch ever delivered Nakanishi gives. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did not notice that.
There's just a little boop. That's all it was. It was a boop. It's terrible. I loved it.
So Nakanishi tries to suplex Sanada, but he drops down into the skull end. But that's countered back into the torture rack. And while he has him in the torture rack, the other members of Taguchi Japan come in. Tanahashi locks on a cloverleaf and Taguchi an ankle lock. But while he's in the torture rack, Sanada manages to bump the ref, Tiger Hattori, like throw him to the ground or hit him in the head. I didn't see exactly what happened, but point is, referee gets bumped, and Nakanishi drops the torture rack into the neck breaker, which is the finish to the way they won the match at New Year's Dash.
Oh.
But there's no ref to count the 3. Hattori gets back into it, and here's where I have that note. He's not selling anything. Like, he just got bumped. Like, he's in his 70s, he just got bumped by a professional wrestler, and then immediately, like 30 seconds later, he's just back up, acting like nothing happened. Like, he's not selling his arm, he's not selling his head, he's just acting like nothing happened. Come on, Tiger.
Well, it's just Tiger, it's whatever.
So Sanada flips out of a German suplex, and a triple team sequence ends with a lung blower and a backdrop suplex for a 2 count. Tanahashi breaks up a skull end that Sanada has on with a sling blade, which looked pretty cool. But Evil comes in and hits Tanahashi with a Darkness Falls. And hip attacks run wild. And Nakanishi actually climbs the top rope and hits a huge crossbody on Sanada for a 2 count.
I thought it was actually a really good near fall, honestly. I kind of thought that'd be the finish.
Yeah, it's one of the lessons for wrestlers, I think. Because he doesn't... Obviously, Nakanishi's not a guy who goes to the top very often, so when he does go to the top and tries a crossbody, it gets a huge reaction. So, lesson to be learned. Bushi comes in after the 2 count and hits Nakanishi with the mist. Sanada locks on the skull end for the tap out. Los Ingobernables win, and we have new Never 6-Man Tag Team Champions.
Of course we do.
Yes, we have to change the title at every show. So what'd you think of this match?
I thought it was decent. I didn't think it was good as the previous 6-man, but Taguchi Japan stuff is always fun. Tana's always really good, but like, I don't know, I couldn't really get that much into it, but I still thought it was good. I liked the Nakanishi near fall. LIJ was very good, but again, there was just like not much to it, and these belts really don't mean that much, so even though they're on the line, it didn't draw me into the match at all. So I don't know. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, even the wrestlers in character weren't taking this very seriously. Like, you had the Taguchi Japan hip attacks, where they just... Like, that's not Tanahashi and Nakanishi's game to do hip attacks, but they do it anyway because it's fun. So they're not taking this all that seriously, so the titles don't really mean all that much. But I thought it was entertaining for what it offered. Nakanishi was kept out of it for the most part. He didn't really have to do much, which... I thought he dragged the match down a little bit, but his crossbody was good. I did not expect him to be able to do that at his size and age.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
Tanahashi
really
was good. Taguchi was entertaining, if maybe a little out of place in a title match. Like, that Taguchi shouldn't really be wrestling for a title. You know, you shouldn't have wacky Taguchi.
Did you not see what happens later in the show, Kyle? Of course he's going to go for a title.
Yeah, I did see that. We will talk about that. But yeah, I wacky Taguchi, it's hard to take seriously in a title match. But I thought all of LIJ did pretty well. It is, you know, it's a 6-man tag. I did like you. I think I liked the other one a little bit better. But this was still entertaining. I think my favorite spot of the match was that skull ends broken up with a not twist and shout, the sling blade.
Oh yeah, that was good.
It looked really smooth and was a pretty creative way to break up that move. So yeah, overall, decent little match, and thus begins LIJ's dominance with the Never 6-Man titles. What an accomplishment.
I have a quick question for you. What would you think about a Sonata versus Tanahashi hair versus hair match.
Ooh, like who can? It's got to end in a double DQ, right?
For some reason I was just like, wait a minute, these guys have the two best hair in the business. What would happen if you put them against each other with both their hairs on the line? How would that make people feel? Who would you want to win? Like, I don't know.
Well, if Tanahashi was going out for another movie, you could probably have Sonata beat him, give him the rub. But you know, his Tanahashi's hair is kind of iconic, but Sonata's has the best mohawk in the business, I think. Plus, you got to imagine that would affect his career because if he gets DDT'd, he doesn't have any way to cushion himself anymore if he loses his hair. So, I don't know who would go over in a Tanahashi versus Sonata hair versus hair match. I'd say it's a toss up, man.
It'd have to be a screwy finish. It's the only way.
Yeah. I don't want any of those guys. I don't want either of those guys to lose their hair. We need more hair like that in wrestling. I mean, what did we have in the West besides the hair in New Japan is very good. We don't really have much cool hair in the West. Like we had Seth Rollins' blonde streak. That's about it.
Matt Hardy's blonde streak.
Matt Hardy's poofy.
Like
Randy Orton's like big boy hair, like from the Big Boys restaurant. Yeah, there's not enough cool hairstyles in wrestling. There needs to be more of it. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Up next, we have the British Heavyweight Championship match. It's the challenger, Will Ospreay, versus the champion, Katsuyori Shibata. So, for the first time, we have a Rev Pro title being defended here in a New Japan ring. That's always cool to see.
Again, with the whole wrestling continuity between different promotions, and it's good.
Yeah, you don't see different companies' titles defended on shows very often, so this is a unique experience.
Yeah, NXT's kind of started doing that with some titles on like Progress and stuff, but it's not very widespread, no.
Yeah. I thought it was really kind of endearing to see. I don't know if you saw this when Ospreay, after he comes out and he's waiting in the ring, and Shibata's making his entrance, and English announcers introducing Shibata, camera goes to Ospreay in the ring waiting for him, and you can see Ospreay like lip syncing along with the introduction for Shibata. Like, you see his lip saying, like, Katsuyori Shibata. It's like, I just thought was really cool. It's like, he's just enjoying himself out there. He's super pumped for this. So to start off, both of them kind of strike a superhero pose in their corner, which I thought was kind of weird for Shibata to be doing, but it looks cool. And they start off with a grappling exchange, and then Ospreay goes after Shibata's taped up knee, and we get a standoff. And Shibata, in turn, goes after Ospreay's arm. Ospreay hits a nice shotgun drop kick on Shibata and sends him to the outside. And then Ospreay almost dies on a suicide dive to the outside.
Yeah, it was crazy, dude.
Yeah, he almost leaded himself on that one, like fishtailed. But he follows that up immediately with a Sasuke special.
Is that what it's called? I thought it was called the Fosbury Flop.
I think the Fosbury Flop is when you just run and then twist your body and do a backflip when you get to the ropes. The Sasuke special, I think, is the cartwheel and then the backflip. I think.
Never mind. Is that a Naruto reference? Is that what that's supposed to be?
No, it's Great Sasuke. The wrestler. He was Great Sasuke. He was a wrestler in Japan.
I'm going to say it's a Naruto reference.
Yeah, all right.
I don't even like Naruto, but that's what it is now.
Yeah, all right. I can't tell you much about Great Sasuke. I just know that he was a wrestler. I know he appeared in one of the OSW reviews of the original ECW, and that's about it.
Okay.
But yeah, he gets back in the ring after the Sasuke special and does the Shibata sit pose. Ospreay puts Shibata in the Indian Deathlock back in the ring, but Shibata gets the break. Ospreay hits a corner drop kick while Shibata seated in the corner, much like Shibata would do to his opponents. But Shibata gets right up and asks for strikes, but he puts Ospreay down after just a
It's
minute.
he no-sells like 3 forearms, and then it's just like, bam, 1 forearm, Ospreay's down. I
Yeah.
was like,
I
that's
think
funny.
that's like a heavyweight, junior heavyweight thing.
Yeah.
You know, the strikes aren't as impactful from juniors. I guess that's how they book it. So Shibata hits some strikes in the corner, and then hits his corner drop kick, and follows it up with a single underhook suplex for a 2.
He murders him with that drop kick.
He does.
It's crazy.
He's Shibata. That's what he do.
Yeah,
he
that's
murder people.
Yeah. And himself.
Aw.
Sorry.
He follows that up with the abdominal stretch, but Ospreay gets the rope break. Ospreay counters a German suplex and hits one of his own, but Shibata no-sells that and pops right up. Ospreay counters that again, tries a handspring Pele, but that's caught for a leg trap German suplex.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
thought it
pretty
was
cool.
really funny how you just like you show their 2 different styles with those like reverse suplex. So like you see Ospreay flipping out of the suplex, and then Shibata's just like, yeah, I'll just no sell it. I think that'll be easier than trying to flip out of it. It's really funny.
Yeah. And good storytelling there in the space of like 30 seconds. Like Ospreay
Yeah.
flips out of 2 German suplexes. He escapes that way. And they put this over on commentary. So to make sure that he can't do that again, Shibata traps the leg to hit that 3rd German suplex. So good job. Good job by commentary. Good job by the agent. Actually, I think this match was pretty much put together by Ospreay and Shibata on the fly. I remember Ospreay talking about it on a podcast. And
Really?
yeah, he talked to Shibata about it. Like, he went up to Shibata and had all these ideas, and he was talking about it. And then Shibata basically told him, all right, what we're going to do, you're going to go out there, I'm going to go out there, you're going to hit me, and then we're going to fight. And that's it.
Classic.
Which is actually a
Classic Shibata.
pretty cool thing, I think. That they we'll just
Yeah.
go on what feels right out there. So we do a strike off, and that ends with a Shibata kick. Ospreay on the outside pulls Shibata's taped shoulder into the ring post and hits a high kick, which kind of slams his head into the ring post, which is good thinking on your feet there, I think. That's a good spot to add that kick there.
Mm-hmm.
Shibata could be counted out, and because it's a Rev Pro title, the title can't change hands on a count out. New Japan titles can, but it's a Rev Pro belt, so you can't win the title that way.
Oh.
So Ospreay's freaking out because Shibata's out cold on the floor. If he doesn't get back in the ring, he's not going to win the title. So he does a cool roll through into a fireman carry to get Shibata up and back into the ring. It's kind of like what John Cena does on occasion now. Well, he's the one he started at Royal Rumble 2017 with AJ.
I thought that spot was a little strange because you could just roll into the ring and roll back out to break the count, I thought. So even though it was a cool spot, why do you need to do it? It didn't make that much sense to me.
Yeah, I understand that. The small problem I have with it is that I think Ospreay jumped the gun a little bit. He went to do his roll through into the fireman carry a little bit early, so once he gets him up on his shoulder, he has to sell that, all right, I can't get this guy up on my shoulder. I can't squat him back to my feet to get him into the ring. So he's there for like 3 to 5 seconds just trying to squat him, and I'm just there thinking, like, you already got him onto your shoulders. Like, the hard part is over. You know, all you
That
gotta
part
do,
didn't bother me too much, to
Yeah.
be honest, but
yeah, it's not a big deal, but it's
it was
just
still
something I
kind of a cool
noticed.
spot. But
It's something I thought him struggling. I thought he struggled for a little too long on the outside once he had him in the fireman carry position, but whatever.
he's a junior, it's fine.
So he gets Shibata back into the ring and goes for a cover, but only gets a 2 count. Ospreay goes up to the top, but he gets cut off. He manages to escape Shibata's grasp and hits a cheeky Nando's kick for a 2 count. Follows that up with a phenomenal forearm and his own Rainmaker pose.
Alright, make a pose.
But he goes for the Rainmaker, but that's blocked. But Shibata comes back with a nice strike combination. And he hits Shibata with a gorgeous-looking imploding 450 for a 2 count.
Very good.
That looked like it sucked, though. Like, he got, like, his midsection, his pelvis, like, right on Shibata's midsection. That looked like, ugh.
Yeah,
That must have sucked for both of them.
it was pretty nasty.
But he gets a 2 count out of that. He hits his Daredevil kick, as you call it.
That's what I have right down in my notes.
And he goes for the Os Cutter, but that's caught into a sleeper hold. Ospreay reaches the ropes, but Shibata traps the arm. He reaches for the rope, but Shibata traps the arm for a head and arm trap suplex. Basically dumps them each, like, dumps both of them right on the backs of their heads. That looked not fun. But he follows that up, thankfully, with a PK, and Shibata gets the 3 count and the win, retains the British Heavyweight Championship. What'd you think of this?
I very much enjoyed it. Ospreay was very fun and flippy, and I thought his style merged well with Shibata's. Like, strike versus high flying for some reason just works. Um, what else can I say? Um, Shibata was very hard hitting and very good at. I don't know how to word how much I like this. It was just a very good match. That both their styles merged really well together. And as you said, it was just kind of built on the fly. I thought it was really impressive that that's the case, and it was just a good all around Rev Pro title match. It's kind of hard for me to put into words exactly, but I just very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really like this too. If there's one thing, I'll get the small complaints about it out of the way. I thought the match was a little bit short, and I get it's a New Japan thing, juniors and heavyweights, that divide. But I felt like this match should have been 2 to 3 minutes longer. Give Ospreay a little bit more of either a comeback or a bit of a last gasp kind of thing where
I
he
did
won't
think
go
the
down.
finish came a little quickly, and I think that's kind of where you're coming from with this.
Yeah, I don't feel that the crowd peaked at that point when they went to the finish. So I feel like it could have been a little bit better if they had gone just a couple of minutes more. But I really enjoyed it. Like you said, the contrast between the stiff, strong style guy and the acrobatic, high-flying guy almost always works. It works similarly with like a big guy versus a flippy guy. Entertaining stuff here. Ospreay's always great. And Shibata's very good at what he does. He's very entertaining, beating the shit out of people. So I got a question for you. What do you think about Ospreay's screaming in his selling?
I was gonna bring that up. I don't know where my notes was for that, but he was very loud, and I almost thought unnecessarily, to be honest with you. Even if you just did an abdominal stretch, he was like, "Oh God, I'm gonna die." I'm like, maybe just tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I like it that he sells, he's actually, it looks like he's hurting when he does that, and you feel like he's hurting, but I think he does it a little too much. Yeah, kind of the same thing.
My guess is it would be to overcompensate for the I don't like the no sellers that high flyers have to do, that they still have to hit their moves even though they're injured. That's the only thing I could think of is since he can't really do that as much, he just screams a lot to show that he's in pain.
That could be. That's an interesting theory. I never thought about it that way. But he, yes, screaming every second that he was in the abdominal stretch is a little bit annoying. Maybe have Shibata wrench on it a little bit, and then you can scream, But it doesn't bother me that much, but it's definitely something you notice that's there. So.
And even just comparing it to Okada, when Okada does it at the right times, we talked about in the Suzuki match last time, whenever Suzuki wrenches is when he kind of screams and is in pain, but it's not as loud or as screechy. Maybe it's just because Ospreay's kind of loud and screechy when he does it, and when Okada does it, and it's more like he's in pain. I don't know. It's a very interesting debate.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it is that much of a hindrance or a bother in Ospreay matches, but I don't know, maybe reel it back in a little bit. Up next, we have the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. It's the Suzuki-gun team of Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Takashi Iizuka versus Togi Makabe and Tomoaki Hanma, GBH, versus the Chaos team of Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ishii. Ugh! The two worst members of Suzuki-gun teaming together.
Yup.
Oh my god. This is only because Lance Archer went down with an injury.
Unfortunately,
on a recent show. He's going to be out for a while. But even if he wasn't injured, like the same triple threat tag match you just did on the last show, fuck off.
Yeah, I didn't really want to watch this, to be honest. When I saw it, I was like, oh god.
Yeah. I don't. I was not looking forward to this when I saw it on the card, but at least it was lower on the card. Like this was the semi-main event on the last show. This is third from the top on this one, so at least we can get it out of the way and get the good stuff back to back. So to kick it off, GBH ambushes Yano and Ishii on the ramps because they're still pissed off about them worming their way into their Wrestle Kingdom match. Izuka and Yano end up starting the match. Yano does his break spot. Yano tags out to Hanma to get away from Scary Man Izuka. Hanma goes for the Kokeshi but misses the headbutt. There's a brawl that takes Hanma out into the crowd and he gets hit with a chair shot. Izuka finally tags out to Smith. I had that down specifically. Like, he was in this match for so long at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it was boring and he did nothing. Oh,
that's what Izuka does. He does nothing.
I was so happy when he tagged out to Smith. And then Smith wrestles and I'm like, oh no! Oh man.
Yeah.
So he hits a suplex and a Brock lock. That was pretty good. That's about the only good thing that he does in this match. So he tags out to Izuka again. And he does a tag rope choke. And the referee, he sees this and he takes the rope. But then Yano, while the referee's dealing with that, grabs his own tag rope and starts choking Izuka with it. And he brings Izuka into his own corner so that he can make sure that he can tag out to Ishii, which I thought was a clever spot. Like, as far as rope choke spots go, this is one of the better ones. Actually doing something smart with it. Dragging him away from any other corner and into yours to make sure that no other team can tag in. And
yeah, but if you use the tag rope and then the tag rope is gone, then no one can tag in.
Shh. Shut up about the rules, man.
The rules, they need to be upheld.
Ishii does his chops and forearms in the corner, and Yano tags back in quickly after that. Honma comes in and hits a Kokeshi and tags to Makabe. Makabe runs wild and hits his corner punches, but his Northern Light suplex is cut off. Makabe hits a double lariat to Izuka and Yano. Oh yeah, and I have here, this is where Davey sucks. I have marked down here, Davey sucks. Makabe power slams Davey to set up for a Hanma Kokeshi, but Smith is already rolling out of the ring before Hanma can hit his Kokeshi, so Hanma's just left there slapping his head, looking around like, who am I going to hit? And then just gives up. It's like,
I remember that.
Ugh. Okay, I understand if you think, okay, I'm being power slammed and now I'm going to roll out of the ring so that the other guys can do their stuff. But, oh man, I don't know if it's just that he was on the wrong page with Makabe and Hanma, or if he just sucks that bad, but he was not having a good night, Davey boy.
Suzuki-gun wasn't having a good night.
Yeah.
They were all sick. They were...
Yeah, and then immediately after that, there's the whip to Kokeshi headbutt, and Makabe hits a German suplex and a bridge for a 2 count. Then there's the low Kokeshi to the opponent in a seated position. Makabe goes up for his King Kong knee drop, but gets cut off. Ishii meets him up there and hits a nice stalling superplex, but it's no-sold, and they go into a lariat battle. Smith tags in on Makabe and distracts for Izuka to start his rope choke. Again, more choking with the rope from Izuka.
That's exactly what I want to see.
Davey Boy's best move in this match, the bridging butterfly suplex on Yano for a 2 count.
Yeah, but how are his shoulders down?
I talked about this last time. I don't know how that works. You must have to let off on the grip a little bit in kayfabe.
I don't know. I thought his best move was that he did a drop kick into an immediate kip up. I thought that was okay.
Yeah, that was good. He's an athletic dude. He's good at doing moves, I think, but he cannot sell to save his life. His feeding and his selling in this match was awful. I don't know how a guy who started wrestling when he was 8 years old can not know how to do these things. It must have just been a bad night, because there's no way you could be this bad. There's a sit-out powerbomb that's broken up for a 2 count by Smith. Here's the next part where he sucks. There's a whip reversal Kokeshi. So Davey whips Honma into the ropes, and Honma's going to fly back with a Kokeshi headbutt. But Davy's out of position, so the Kokeshi just looks like a shoulder block, basically. Like, he completely misses the headbutt. And then he does a delayed bump. Like, he doesn't bump right away for it because he's not expecting it. So it just looks bad. The sound it makes is pretty good, though. There's a nice big thump when he hits. So I'll give him that. It sounded good, looked terrible.
Sounded good because it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like a gun going off.
Izuka bumps the ref. A lot of ref bumps tonight. And goes for the Iron Fingers on Makabe, and he gets him, and then hits one on Ishii, but he misses Yano, and Yano hits a low blow on Izuka and a low blow on Davy, who he schoolboys 4-3, and Yano and Ishii escape with the tag team titles once again. What'd you think of this?
I thought it was kind of boring. Eventually, at some point, I just kind of stopped taking notes because there wasn't that much going on, and I was just kind of like, oh, well, now I'm watching. But Yano was funny. Davy Boy, who doesn't like comedy wrestling, gets beat by a comedy wrestler, so yay. Other than that, I didn't think there was that much going on, and Davy sucks, so there you go.
Yeah, this match was not very good. Like, I've buried him enough. Davy did not have a good night. Makabe and Honma they're good baby faces, but their wrestling is, whatever. It's mostly just punches and headbutts. Yeah. So, not a lot they have to offer. Izuka and Davy, they're the worst two members of their team, so there's not a lot that they can offer in this match. So, really the only person that's any good in this match is Ishii. The only person that can really provide quote-unquote entertainment, I guess, is Yano. So they're the only team that's halfway decent in this match, and yeah, it was all right.
Probably did the least, so
they were all right, yeah. But I don't really have much to say about this match because it was not very good and not very entertaining, and not much happened. But at least we got it over and done with, and because of all the injuries that are being racked up, hopefully we don't have to see any more of these boring three-way tag matches for a while until we get War Machine in, who's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was funny. As I was watching the show, I was getting kind of tired just because of work and school and stuff, and then I was watching it in my bed laying down, and I was starting to feel tired, and then this match came on, and I was like, I think I'm going to take a nap now. And paused it and took a nap. So that's kind of how, to sum up my feelings about this match.
Yeah, let's move on. Up next, Pants Down time. It's the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match. It's the challenger, Dragon Lee, versus Hiromu Takahashi. Oh, I was looking forward to this one.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that it was on the card, and then I saw it pop up, and I was like, oh, God, here we go.
All right. So, for this match, I have something that you might be interested in. Took some notes for this. These guys are longtime rivals. They've met many times and had many crazy, ridiculous matches. So I thought, before we get started here, let's do a quick recap of the Dragon Lee Kaimatachi feud up to this point.
That would be awesome.
All right. First match, January 9th, 2015. Dragon Lee defeats Kaimatachi, Hiromu as Kaimatachi, in a straight one-fall match. It's called a lightning match in CMLL because most of their big-time matches are 2 out of 3 falls. So if it's just one fall, they call it a lightning match. So Dragon Lee wins a one-fall match to defeat Kaimatachi in their first meeting. March 20th, 2015. Kaimatachi wins a 2 out of 3 falls match. The finish coming when Kaimatachi pulled off Dragon Lee's mask while the referee was distracted. And that started the build towards an eventual mask versus match, which is actually their next meeting, July 13th, 2015. Dragon Lee defeats Kaimatachi and forces him to unmask, setting up his obsession with Dragon Lee and kind of putting in motion the pieces for Hiromu Takahashi's ticking time bomb character. August 30th, 2015, Dragon Lee beats Kaimatachi to retain the CMLL light heavyweight title in a 2 out of 3 falls match. November 11th, 2015, Kaimatachi beats Dragon Lee in a shocking 6.5 minute one fall match. He beat him in 6.5 minutes, just out of nowhere. December 4th, 2015, Dragon Lee again retains the CMLL Light Heavyweight Championship in a 2 out of 3 falls match. January 24th, 2016, Kaimatachi finally beats Dragon Lee for the light heavyweight title in a 2 out of 3 falls match at New Japan's Fantastica Mania show in Korakuen Hall, which was a really cool moment for him. March 4th, 2016, Lee takes back the title in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And finally, September 30th, 2016, Dragon Lee beats Kaimatachi in a one fall exhibition match at ROH's All-Star Extravaganza. So this tonight will be their 10th meeting, Lee dominating most of their rivalry. So it's an uphill battle for the champion. What'd you think of that quick little recap there?
I didn't realize how many matches they had. I knew it was a intense rivalry, but 10 meetings before they ever met New Japan, that I didn't think it would be that much. I thought it would be more like 6.
Yeah.
So
well, 9 technically, but yeah, lots of brutal matches.
In 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 falls matches.
And then I like how Hiromu just for some reason beats people in 2 minutes for no reason. Like,
so we had a video package with New Japan and CMLL wrestlers talking about the feud, the wrestlers, and the upcoming match. What I thought that was pretty cool. We got to see Mystico, I believe, the former Sin Cara,
yeah,
and Rush, one of the founders of Los Ingobernables in Mexico. There was a third CML guy. I didn't recognize him, but I recognized Rush and Mystico. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. What'd you think?
I thought it was a pretty cool video package. I mean, I didn't understand anything that was going on because you had Spanish translated into Japanese and Japanese translated into Japanese. But, you know, it was still kind of cool to hear from them.
Yeah, I just thought it was cool that they brought in these guys that don't have really much to do with the feud and sometimes even the company, just to talk about, you know, Dragon Lee and his feud with Kaimatachi and make it seem like it was a really big deal. And to kind of put it over. So even though I couldn't understand the language of it, I knew what they were trying to do based on, you know, what was happening in the video. So I thought that was neat. So they start off with chops, then they exchange some moves, and Dragon Lee cartwheels out of 2 Hurricanrana attempts and hits Hiromu with a drop kick, sending him to the outside, and then a rocket dive to the outside. That's the only way I could describe it.
He was insanely good.
He was moving so fast on that dive. It looked really cool.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
Yeah.
And like Hiromu like totally saved him. He was like just a little bit off to the left, and he like grabs his head and like saves his life. It was kind of cool.
Nice.
And still looked great.
Mm-hmm. Back in the ring, Lee hits a running kick for a 2 count. Dragon Lee stops the first attempt at the sunset flip powerbomb to the outside, but he can't stop it the second time and takes a really nasty bump to the floor. His head looking like it might have hit the concrete. Ugh.
I mean, that was a really devastating looking spot, but you did forget the most important spot of the match. There was a kitchen sink.
Ah, I didn't take note of that. I think I actually remember seeing a kitchen sink. It might have been this match. It was like a knee to the gut, but the guy didn't do a somersault over the leg, so I didn't know if I should count it because it was just a lift. It was just a knee lift then.
Well, there was definitely a kitchen sink here. Like no doubt about it. Like the sunset flip powerbomb, that was okay, but the kitchen sink was beautiful.
All right. And Hiromu hits a nice looking down the ramp drop kick. Like he runs down the ramp and drop kicks for Dragon Lee, who's at the bottom of it. And it struck me kind of like right here how much I actually miss Takahashi in present day, because like he just like while the referee's counting, he just goes over and you can hear him say like referee, and he puts his finger up to his lip like shh, stop counting, just having fun with it. And he's like okay, it puts him back in the ring. It's like I just miss little things like that are entertaining and fun. This match as a whole basically just reminded me of how good and how entertaining and he is, and how much is missing without him. But hopefully he'll be back in 6 to 9 months to a year, and we'll get to see him again.
69 months.
Boo. Takahashi goes after Dragon Lee's mask, and kind of nice. He gets some boos for it. Like, it's not Mexico, so he's not going to get a huge reaction for going after the mask, but he gets a nice solid boo for trying to rip the mask off. Lee hits a Gamengiri to Hiromu on the outside and follows it up with an awesome inside-out running Frankensteiner to the floor. That's so awesome every time he does that.
Jumps over the ropes.
Yeah. That was like
Dragonrana to the floor.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that was like one of the big spots in the final match of the Cruiserweight Classic, and that got a huge reaction. And
I know. Cole and Ricochet did it.
Yeah, just seeing Dragon Lee do it here like it's nothing is amazing. Like he does that move with like no effort. I think at this time he's only like a year or two into professional wrestling too.
Really?
He's amazing. He's like an Okada level prodigy.
Ooh.
And he follows that awesome looking Rana up with a Tope con Hilo, because of course Lucha.
Yep.
He hits 2 roll through Northern Light suplexes and then a regular suplex for a 2 count. That looks awesome too. Like just inventing new ways to do certain things is always a nice thing. I've never seen somebody do the bridge for the Northern Lights and then flip over, do another Northern Lights. I've seen, Northern Lights and then flip out of that, but it's like the triple Germans, but
better.
Yeah, a lot more core strength. Hiromu stops the Tree of Woe double stomp by going after Dragon Lee's mask again, and then the scariest move of the match, I think, hits a belly-to-belly off the top to the floor on Dragon Lee. Oh my God. Thankfully, I think he got a nice roll on it where he didn't have to take a flat back and kind of rolled through it, but still, that's really scary. But it's kind of par for the course with these two. He goes for that senton, like running off the apron, and Lee catches him and power bombs him on the floor. So
yeah.
So yay.
Yep. Yay.
And we get a 19 with both of them.
19. Yep, I have that down.
And they both get back in on opposite sides of the ring. And they exchange German suplexes, and Lee finishes that exchange with a Spanish fly for a 2 count. They go back to chopping the shit out of each other. Hiromu hits a shotgun drop kick to the corner. Lee follows that up with a snap suplex to the buckle.
That missile drop kick under the turnbuckle was Lee took his neck was just dead after that. He took like a whiplash. It was terrible. It was scary.
Oh yeah. That was a rough landing for him. He had a bad night for landings on this show. We'll get to it. So Lee hits the snap suplex to the buckle and goes for another inside out Rana, but like you mentioned earlier, never go for the same move twice in one match. He's countered with a powerbomb onto the apron. My God. I said earlier I thought there was, the worst bump of the match. I've questioned saying that about 2 or 3 times since saying
I
that.
know.
Going over these notes. Oh my God, this match. So he gets powerbombed on the apron, and now he hits his big top rope suicide senton to the floor. Good landing for Hiromu. Lee caught him very well, but Lee fell right back, like head into the guardrail. Mm-hmm. That looked no fun. Bad night at the office for him. Not in terms of, the match, because as you're probably figuring out, the match is really good. But he's just taken so much abuse in this match. The sunset flip powerbomb, the top rope belly to belly, and now having his head whiplash into the barricade. Ow. Not a fun night to be Dragon Lee.
No.
Also, I thought was kind of funny there, after Hiromu hits the senton, on English commentary, because they have mics around the ring, you can hear the Japanese announcers go, "Diving senton!" Which I just...
Sometimes I wish I listened to the Japanese commentary.
It is really great, but you learn a lot listening to the English commentary, so it's probably best for our podcast that we listen to English, but for entertainment's sake, I would like to listen to Japanese commentary occasionally. Leaf tries to rally back in the ring with an armbar and then transitions into a crossface, but Hiromu gets the break eventually. Red Shoes gets bump, and I have here that it misses
Red
by
Shoes
a mile.
Gets bumped.
Yeah, quotes.
Yeah, Dragon Lee grazed Red Shoes.
He got nowhere near him with that drop kick. It was not a good bump. But while the ref is dealing with that, Hiromu goes for the top rope victory roll, but Dragon Lee blocks it. And in a really clever spot, I thought, Hiromu rips off Dragon Lee's mask in order to catch him off guard to finish the move and hit the victory roll. Red Shoes comes back to count, but only gets a 2 count for it.
Yeah, it was a really good spot.
Yeah.
But my favorite part about that was during the cover, you can see Hiromu like put his mask over Dragon Lee's face. It's really kind of funny.
You might be asking, why did we need a ref bump for this spot? Well, in New Japan, ripping off a masked wrestler's mask is illegal. It's grounds for disqualification. So you can't have the referee seeing this, and it takes a minute to set up. So you can't just have him get distracted by a loose turnbuckle or something. You have to bump him. They had a DQ earlier this year. I think it was New Beginning 2018, where Gato ripped off Bushi's mask and got DQ'd for it. So, yeah, no going after the mask in New Japan. Grounds for disqualification. And then after the kick out, you can see Oka, the young lion at ringside. He's helping to put Dragon Lee's mask back on. Lee hits a high knee and a Dragon Driver suplex powerbomb. That's what that's called, the suplex into the sit-out powerbomb. But it's only good for a 2 count. And I think he tries to set up for the Phoenix Plex, the bridging package powerbomb type thing, the thing that ended up injuring Hiromu earlier this year.
I didn't notice that.
It was a powerbomb position, so it could have been a million things, but that's he does that move and it requires that position, so it's possible that he was going for that. But it doesn't matter because Hiromu pops up and counters that into a Canadian Destroyer. Oh, that looks so good.
A powerbomb flipped into a Destroyer. How awesome is that? But unfortunately, I saw it during the promo package, so it wasn't as cool. But it was still awesome.
So they're both back to their feet. They start doing chops again. And Hiromu hits a running pop-up Destroyer again. But that's only for a 2 count. But he gets him back up, hits the Buckle Death Valley Driver and the Time Bomb for the 3. And Hiromu Takahashi defeats Dragon Lee to retain the Junior Heavyweight Championship. What did you think of this?
This was insanely good on multiple levels. So, of course, we had so many great, dangerous spots from both these guys. But not only that, it built really well, like building up to the big Canadian Destroyers and the those big moves at the end. And then overall, you had a good story with the mask that paid off really well. Hiromu went after the mask, which he factored into a few of his other moves, and then paid off really well with that Sunset Flip move, which I believe he's won matches with that in the past. So it was a really good story with that. So pretty much everything about this match was fantastic. So it checks all the boxes. So there you go.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. This might have been my favorite match of the night. It's between this and the main event. That was really good. It was disgusting at points. It was vicious.
I never thought it was that disgusting. There were a lot of big bumps, but I never thought it was disgusting.
It bordered on disgusting at points. I thought getting the head driven into the barricade, that scared me. The belly to belly off the top scared me. Like, these are times when I flinched when watching this, and this is a year and a half after the fact, knowing that they were fine. Like, this match didn't cause any long-term damage. Even the victory roll looked like it wasn't a flush landing. He landed like that could have been a dangerous fall.
I thought it was safer than ones I'd seen in the past of that, but I don't know.
Well, he didn't land flat, and I don't know that much about how to actually wrestle, obviously, but from what I understand, you always want to land as flat as possible, and it looked like he landed on his shoulder almost. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because in the moment I was, looking at the wrong thing or something. But there were certain.
They got you, Kyle. You're a mark.
I guess
they got you.
I'm just a mark.
They wanted you to think that it was dangerous.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed this match. Lots of danger. It had that air of danger. Like, any one of these moves could result in a ref stoppage. It was incredibly athletic, incredibly fast-paced. Even doing simple things like chops, they do it in a way that gets me invested. I love when they just run at each other and start chopping each other right out of the gate. Yeah,
yep.
Like you said, it ticks all the boxes. It was dramatic. It was awe-inspiring at points. It was dangerous. You had a nice storyline with the mask. I didn't mention this, but Hiromu actually came out with, I think, some old Dragon Lee masks that he had previously stolen off of him from CMLL, if I can speak. Yeah, so just nice little touches there, and it's always nice when you get this sort of dramatic, epic brawl with nice backstory. So I don't know if it was the best match of the night, but it was definitely my favorite match, and we'll talk about after the next match, which was probably the best match of the night. We'll talk about the differences between the two. But yeah, I was really entertained by that, and happy to watch this. Happy to watch more in the future, because I know they're gonna meet in at least 2 more Super Juniors in the future. Only one I think we'll be covering, because the other one's in 2018. But happy to watch more Dragon Lee and Hiromu matches. Kind of want to go back and watch some of their CMLL matches, because if they're half as dangerous and crazy as these, will surely be entertained. So after the match, Taguchi comes out to challenge Hiromu for the title. He makes some ha-has, but it's in Japanese, so we can't understand it, and there's no translator yet. So Hiromu kind of like blows him off and goes to leave, but when Taguchi's back's turned, he threatens to hit him with the belt. Taguchi dodges and puts him in an ankle lock to kind of get over the fact that this is serious, Taguchi, now. I'm going for a title. And he runs off Hiromu, and yeah, we set that up for the next big show. What'd you think about Taguchi as a challenger?
I was like, oh, hey, it's Taguchi. And then I skipped past it because I knew it would be in Japanese, and I didn't know what they'd be saying. So.
Fair enough.
But I still think it'll be a good enough match. Serious Taguchi can turn it on and make it good. So
yeah, serious Taguchi is good. So I'll kind of looking forward to that. I don't remember much about. I don't even remember if I saw this match, but I don't really remember much about it. So I'm happy to kind of watch it for the first time again, I guess. So yeah, that's for the future of the junior heavyweight division. So a great match from Hiromu, and it only looks like it's going to get better from here. But now it's time to move on to our main event. Our main event tonight is for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. The challenger is Micheal Elgin, and the champion, Tetsuya Naito. So as we've covered before, this comes after Naito's defeat of Micheal Elgin from last fall for the title. He beat him on the Destruction Tour for the Intercontinental Championship, and a few days later on the tour, with a low drop kick to the face, broke Elgin's orbital bone. He missed about a month of action and only made it back in time to get on the Tokyo Dome pre-show, and not in a featured match. And after Naito retained his title later that night, and Elgin had won the Battle Royal on the pre-show, he made a challenge to Naito for the New Beginning Tour, and here we are.
Didn't he pin him with a burning hammer on the tour also? That's kind of how he got his title match?
Yes, he beat him. He made his challenge at the Dome, and he beat him at New Year's Dash in a tag match. That was the one where Dragon Lee interfered to set up the Hiromu match as well. So yeah, he does use the burning hammer on occasion, which, I don't know. It annoys me a little bit, but at least he wins with it whenever he does it. So I just feel like nobody should be using the burning hammer unless it's a really, really big deal. Pinning somebody on a Raw After Mania level show, whatever. I'm just nitpicking though. So setting aside how we might feel about Elgin as a person on a personal level, I'll say in advance, this is a great match, and it can be hard to separate the person from the wrestler sometimes, but trying to do it objectively, I will say this is a great match, and I will do my best to review it as as just a match between two guys. So, kind of same for you, Justin?
Yeah, I kind of forgot. I knew when it happened, I knew all the details, but I kind of forgot all the details of the Micheal Elgin thing. So it was easier for me to kind of put that out of my head because I don't remember the specifics.
Yeah.
So
I'd rather not talk about it anyway. Let's just say
that's okay.
We could just say fuck Micheal Elgin.
Yep, that's fine.
So to start off, they kind of just stand off in the ring, Naito and Elgin, and Naito kind of spits in the direction of commentary where Okada and Gedo are at the moment. They weren't really clear on if it was at Milano Collection or if it was at Okada and Gedo. But yeah, he spits in that general direction like a heel. And we're in Osaka, so it's a very, very mixed reaction for Naito. You can hear a lot of Elgin chants and some actual... You don't hear boos very much in New Japan, but you can actually hear some boos for Naito.
Yeah, Osaka just doesn't like Naito.
Yeah, it's his city. I don't know if there's a good way to compare it, because it's sort of like it's not like Chicago where they'll root for the heel, or no matter what is going on with the person they'll root for a guy, because they have a lot of people in Osaka that love Naito and a lot of people that just hate him. It's kind of left over from the Stardust Genius days. So it's a unique wrestler to town relationship. So,
but I did hear one Naito, so I think that's all I needed.
Oh yeah, all is forgiven. So we get a Tranquilo pose, and Naito bails immediately to the outside. Elgin goes out to get him. Naito comes back in, and Naito tries to run at him, hit a move, but Elgin hits a back elbow, flying back elbow to, kind of pulling over the ropes back in, and follows that up with the pullover splash. Naito goes after the eye, but Elgin blocks him, and follows that up with a big military press slam. Naito gets clotheslined to the outside, and he takes kind of an unnecessary but cool-looking bump into the barricade. Like, he throws himself into the barricade. I'll give that to Naito, that he will always go the extra mile to bump on his neck, against something hard, He doesn't mess around when it's a big match. Elgin goes down the line on the apron and hits a senton to Naito on the floor. Naito manages to get a quick advantage and tries to dive at Elgin, but Elgin catches him into a suplex on the ramp. So they're setting up the story very clear here that Elgin's power is overwhelming Naito at the onset of the match, and Naito has to find clever ways to wear Elgin down in order to gain the advantage. Like when Elgin tries to get back in here after the suplex, he grabs his leg in the ropes and has a leg lock while he's tangled up. And after this, he goes after the leg. A bunch of simple stuff, just like elbow smashes onto the leg, stomping, twisting the leg in sort of a half submission hold. Easy stuff, but, effective, and it builds towards bigger moments later. Starts a modified figure 4, but Elgin gets to the ropes for a break. Elgin, I noticed on one of Irish whip reversals, he has to reverse it by bouncing on one leg. This is one of those moments where I have to give him props. That's fantastic selling. Nobody does that. Nobody pays that much attention to a leg injury in wrestling, where they're actually hobbling on one leg while trying to whip somebody. So good job there.
But then later he just runs and does clotheslines and stuff, but whatever.
I can forgive that if you sell at moments like this, because when you sell and then just run later, I can buy that you're just putting the pain out of your mind to try to hit a move.
Okay.
But yeah, if you just run and then grab your leg after it, that's just
Seth Rollins.
Naito tries to grab Elgin's leg, but he cleverly, to fight off Naito, he hits an enziguri, which I thought was just a nice spot. He hits some sort of weird looking reverse Falcon Arrow type move. The Falcon Arrow is a suplex into a sit out slam. This was a back suplex into a sit out slam where Naito lands on his stomach. It looked cool.
Does nobody kick out of the reverse Falcon Arrow?
No, this doesn't count. It's not an actual deal. This is the reverse deal.
Okay.
This isn't even an actual deal because it was a back suplex. So
okay, got it.
He can kick out of this. Elgin hits corner lariats, and Naito goes after the eye, which is an interesting story. He targets the leg because strategically it's smart to take out the big man's leg, but he knows that if he ever gets into trouble, he can always just go for that eye, and it's a quick little opening for him to get the advantage, which is cool.
It's very good.
He hits a nasty-looking German suplex into the buckle on Naito, Elgin does, and then follows it up with a deadlift German and a one-legged bridge, which is always impressive when someone can do that.
It's always good.
He hits front and back lariats, he's sandwiching Naito, hits him from behind, then hits him from the front. Naito goes after the leg again to try to get the advantage back. There's a series of reversals that ends with 2 Elgin German suplexes, but Naito blocks the third and goes for a tornado DDT. Elgin blocks that, but when Elgin tries to suplex him out of that, Naito uses the momentum to actually hit the DDT. Nice little spot there. There's an exchange where Elgin hits forearm smashes and Naito stomps the knee, and then that ends when he rakes the eye. Elgin fights back, though, with a pump kick, and Naito takes an awesome backflip bump for it. And meanwhile, Elgin does a nice sell job where the leg that he has to plant on is the leg that Naito's been working over. So he kind of collapses after he delivers the move because he had to put his entire body weight on that one leg. So he falls down and does a nice sell. Elgin tries a superplex, but Naito escapes and hits a sunset flip powerbomb off the top rope. Then tries a top rope drop kick, but that's countered into a sit-out powerbomb. And after that, Elgin goes to the top and hits a pretty good-looking frog splash for a 2 count. Naito hits an enziguri, but Elgin fires back with a lariat and fires himself up and hits a big running lariat for a 2 count.
We get the classic Naito neck bump, which is nice.
Naito neck bump, a staple of big Naito matches. Elgin goes up to the top, but Naito meets him there and tries a top rope Rana. Elgin blocks it and tries to pick him up for a powerbomb, but that gets reversed into the Rana. I love that spot. That's really cool.
It was very good, especially because he goes for the eyes, so he gets that advantage, and then can hit the Rana, which is very good.
And immediately Naito rolls into the leg lock without a name. I don't know what to call that thing. Where he bars the leg and bends it backwards. Yeah. There's no name for it on Wikipedia. You know, no one on commentary has ever named it. So I don't know. He bends his leg backwards like he would, I don't know, be balancing on one leg. Elgin eventually fights to get a break. They move out to the apron. Naito spits at Elgin. Elgin fights back though after this and hits a Celtic cross on the apron. Ow.
Ouch. The Ciampa driver, as I wrote in my notes.
Elgin heads back into the ring and picks up Naito from the apron, hits a deadlift deal. Nobody kicks out of the Falcon Arrow, so it's clearly over, but the ref fucks up because he only calls it a 2 for some reason. He obviously didn't kick out, though, because no one kicks out of the Falcon Arrow.
Sure.
Elgin, after that, hits a discus elbow to the back of the head, and then the front, and then does Naito's eye and raise fist thing, and hits a back fist, buckle bomb, but the Elgin bomb is countered because Naito went back to the eye. He hits his tilt-a-whirl DDT on the ropes, and then a running Destino, but it's only for a 2 count.
Great near fall.
He goes for a Destino again, but Elgin counters into a buckle Death Valley driver, kind of like Naito's buddy Hiromu does. Naito goes back to the eye again. Elgin hits a pretty safe-looking apron bomb. Like, he gets him flat. Like, you know, Kevin Owens will, like, hit you right on the edge of the apron. But he got him on the flat surface of it. Yeah. So, even though it's harder because of the steel beams there, it's as safe as that's going to be. So, good on ya. And then he hits a barricade bomb. Like, he does what a buckle bomb would be, but he throws him into the barricade.
And with these types of barricades, like, that doesn't seem fun.
Yeah, like, at least with the padded WWE barricades, that would be safe enough. But this is, you know, steel bar barricade. Ouch. So he throws him back into the ring and hits a spiral bomb, the Elgin bomb, but it's only for a 2 count. He tries for the burning hammer, but Naito counters that into a Destino and a double down, and a rare referee standing 10 count in New Japan. We don't see that very often. A small thing that infuriated me, Elgin is the first up to his feet on the standing 10 count. It's like, you just took the Destino, and you're up first.
To be fair, it was only a half Destino, because he was already up. He didn't do the full turn, so there wasn't as much momentum, so I give it a pass.
I can understand that, but it's still a move.
And considering he just took the Elgin bomb, like, I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but to me, if you take a move, it doesn't matter what move it is.
I mean, fair.
You shouldn't be up to your feet first. But whatever. It's not important because they're both getting up anyway. Naito counters the burning hammer again, but gets hit with the back fist. Elgin misses the lariat, and Naito hits his rolling absegiri, gets Elgin in the corner, hits a middle rope Destino. You can actually hear Red Shoes on this say, "Kick out," before he goes down to count, which,
I didn't hear it.
Whatever. But, because it doesn't matter, he kicks out, Naito picks him up, hits another Destino.
Naito now knows he's got Elgin right where he wants him. Destino, yes! Got it! Leg hook. 2. Oh, and Elgin kicks out. Now full over the top rotation. Destino! Destino to got it! Destino!
What did you think of this?
Yeah, it was interesting because about halfway through it, I was like, well, the match only must have like 5 or 6 minutes left, and it hasn't been that interesting so far. But then they do the top rope Rana spot where Naito goes for the eyes and hits top rope Rana, and pretty much everything after that was very good and very entertaining, and I was able to suspend my disbelief. And it made all the stuff that happened upward before that, the story, it made that all make sense with the going after the legs, so it was harder for Elgin to hit his power moves. So for a while it was a little boring, but that was necessary to make the match as good as it was. And then everything after that was all just big moves and melodrama and big kickouts, and it was very good and very entertaining. And it kept a good cohesive story that built throughout. So very good.
Yeah, I thought this was a really good match. Like I said at the end of the last one, I think this was the best match of the night. I think I like the other one a little bit better, just because, I mean, we've talked about, I don't really like Micheal Elgin as a person. I don't really have a strong feeling about him as a wrestling character either. I was never, before all that, I was never really a fan of Micheal Elgin anyway, so he doesn't have much to his character. I mean,
he's just a big American guy in Japan.
He's a big American dude that does wrestling moves, and that's about it. So I don't have any strong feelings towards him. So it's hard for me to get invested in this match, but trying to analyze it, I can see that this is a phenomenal match. He does a great job of selling the leg. Like we talked about, he'll collapse when trying to put weight on his injured leg. He'll balance on one leg to try to whip someone into the ropes. Just a good job of selling throughout the match. I like the story of strategically that being the best option, but then Naito also has that safety net of being able to go after the eye if he gets into trouble. There weren't really any botches or anything that hurt the match all that much. The moves were executed very well. Maybe it went a little bit long. There were times when I was starting to look at the clock, but it was late at night when I was watching the match, so that could have something to do with it. But yeah, this was a really good match. Probably the best on the card. A good defense for Naito, and I think this, even in defeat, it boosts Elgin's stock a little bit, which helps after being out with an injury for a little while. So yeah, this is a good main event. So after the match, the other members of LIJ come out to celebrate. Clean sweep for Los Ingobernables tonight. We get the LIJ roll call, and we're out.
Sanada, Hiromu, Naito, nosotros, los Ingobernables de Japón.
So what did you think of the show as a whole, Justin?
I thought it was actually better than the previous New Beginning show. I think most of it was down to the tag matches being a little more fun. Even though there wasn't that much going on, I was never bored during the opening segments. And then as soon as Ospreay and Shibata were in there, everything else, I was like, all right, I'm down for this. Here we go. So I really did enjoy it. The top 2 matches were both very good and very different. While the first one was a hotly contested blood feud with a lot of big spots, the main event was a more methodical wrestling match that still built into something that was really fun. Shibata and Ospreay had a very good mix of styles match. While the tag team title match didn't really deliver, it was a decent buffer between that and, as I said, the undercard tags were all really fun. So especially the Suzuki versus Okada one. So overall, I thought the show was very enjoyable and a much easier watch than the first one, personally. So
yeah, I agree with you on I like the fact that I like the show better than the first New Beginning. I thought it was much more balanced. I thought the first New Beginning was very much a one-match show. It was just for Okada and Suzuki. There wasn't really much to talk about on anything else besides that. This, I thought, had 3 very good matches, a pretty good undercard tag, and a decent undercard tag. I didn't like the undercard quite as much as you did. I think I preferred the first show's undercard, but the last 2 matches on that undercard, Okada's tag and the 6-man tag titles, I thought that was very good. I like Shibata and Ospreay, like you were talking about, same reasons. I thought maybe it was a little bit short. Could have used a little bit more offense from Ospreay, or at least like a last stand moment for him. The heavyweight tag match was garbage. Not a lot really to talk about on that. But thankfully it's done. Hiromu and Dragon Lee killed each other in a very entertaining way. And the main event was a really good story, a lot of selling. Even though one of the characters I wasn't really that invested in, I can at least appreciate the quality of a wrestling match that it was. So, like you, I prefer this show over the first. I would say that the first had a higher peak, but I think this one maintained a better average quality.
Yeah.
And I think the Osaka crowd also helped it out. They're always very rowdy. They're a good crowd for New Japan. So, yeah, I like the show. I had a good time. I don't know if I'd recommend watching all of it, but you might enjoy the undercard tags and everything except that 3-way tag match you'd probably enjoy from the top of the card. Anything else to add to the show, Justin, for the New Beginning show?
I have one thing. Isn't New Beginning kind of redundant?
Maybe. That is actually, now that you think,
If
now that
something
you say
is new, does that not mean it's the beginning of it? Like, I understand that it's like the new beginning of the year, but then you don't need new, and you can just say that.
Could you not also refer to a beginning though that has been in the past? So that would be an old beginning, and you could have another beginning.
I guess it's another new beginning. It's the new. Maybe it makes more sense, but I just thought it was.
Why do we end these shows on grammar?
I don't remember the ending of the last couple shows.
Yeah, I forget exactly what we were arguing over, but I remember calling you a grammar Nazi at the end of the last one. So,
all right.
Yeah. Well. Apparently, we get into grammar at the end of the show.
Well, when we have nothing else to talk about, we just be idiots, so it's fine.
Well, that brings us to the end of the New Beginning show. Do you have anything to add? Anything else you want to talk about before we finish it up here?
I don't know.
Yeah, now? What you looking forward to for New Japan?
2017 or
in modern day?
I mean, the Dome's coming up pretty soon here, so is there any other big tours before the Dome?
I know they got King of Pro Wrestling coming up. I don't know if that's like a big tour. They'll probably have some Road 2 shows, but that's a one match event, or one show event rather.
Okay.
They have.
Do you think they'll do a Bushi Omega there? Because I thought there was a little hint of that during his last title defense.
They could. I don't know if they should because the show's already sold out. I don't know if you'd want to give that away, but they could. After that, we have Power Struggle and then World Tag League. Somewhere in there, we're going to have the Junior Tag Team Tournament. So, yeah, lots coming up in the next month. We're ramping up for the Dome 2019. So, a lot to look forward to in modern day. All right, so I guess that wraps it up for us here. So, we should probably sign off then, shouldn't we?
I don't know how to sign off, so you can do it.
All right, well, thanks for making it to the end of episode 3. Thanks for sticking around and being patient for us to get this out and dealing with any of the kinks that the show might have, because we're trying to do this from 2 different places, trying to figure out exactly how we're going to do this. So yeah, appreciate your patience. Thanks for joining us. Anything else to add, Justin?
Nah, you covered it.
I was thinking about for a second just ending the show on your meh. All right, well, thanks again for joining us, everybody. Yeah, for Kyle and Justin, have a nice night. Bye.
Bye.